said, the reason why it's okay that we'd be cannibalizing our own business is twofold. One is also the social philosophy of the project is to help support our Gaels and our athletic. And the second part of why it's okay is that right now Tricolour is making a very large surplus. And yes, that's really great. And I really do applaud the management team for really streamlining their business and making everything a lot more efficient and relevant to students, specifically last year and then carried on this year. It is somewhat detrimental as well for non-for-profit corporations. And in the last annual report, it was outlined by our auditors that our operating fund is actually getting too high. So we're making too many surpluses, and overall at our bottom line, the corporation as a whole of the entire society is just making too much money for a non-for-profit. So it was actually advised to us that your operating fund is too large, and if it's continuing the way it is as of right now, you will lose your non-for-profit status, which will change the landscape of the alma mater society as a whole. Right now, Tricolour is looking at ways, they're doing it actually right now, of how to use more money, but using it effectively, because we don't want to just spend money just to spend money, but trying to find places to spend money appropriately and giving back to students.
So the mentality was trying to make sure students can take advantage of everything that the ARC offers. So there'd be three parts. One would be the individual part that might be in other markets like tracking healthy eating habits or a pedometer or things like that. But the second part would be all the classes that the ARC offers, for example, that you can take advantage of those programs that they run, trainers that you can go to that are open to everybody, things like that. When scheduling, like when the pool's open, all that kind of stuff, like basic stuff for people that are easier to find. Because right now we heard from Shannon that the website is actually difficult to manage, and even I know for doing intramural stuff, it's very difficult to navigate around and find schedules. And then the third part would be to support our Gaels and our teams and make buying tickets or promoting different games easier for people.
Some of the ideas that were put in there were more suggestions than anything. What we have looked at is a lot of things related to booking classes, etc., and the gym equipment itself. So the treadmill booking function that you described is something that actually mimics something that's done at a lot of large Toronto and Calgary gyms. So the way it works is it's only a very small complement of your treadmills, so it would maybe be 10 of them or something like that. And right now there is someone who is roving around that area anyway, so it'd be very easy to monitor because the infrastructure is in place. What you would have on top of that is you would book it beforehand, and there is a limited time that you can take. If someone were not there on time, then it would just go back into regular circulation.
I guess I'll first outline why gluten-free at the Brew can work as of right now. On the right-hand side, there's currently nothing occupying that space, so it's really wasted space as of right now, and it's not being touched by anything. So how it would work right now is we'd create a barrier, so kind of like a halfway point, and it'd be a physical barrier, it's not necessarily a mark. And then that right-hand side would be a different set of cream cheeses, different set of utensils, different set of everything, and its own toaster, and it'd be just for gluten-free bagels. It'd also only be the manager giving the gluten-free bagels to the actual customer. Right now, we cannot go any further is because there is no guarantee that there will be no cross-contamination as of right now, especially at main common ground. The reason why it is easy to do at the Brew is because there's infrastructure there that is used for nothing else of right now, whereas right now at main common ground, there's no space as of right now that's not being used for something else, food related. So there's really nowhere to expand, and as of right now, you would need a new dishwasher, new utensils, a new prep space, you need a new serving space, you need
a new freezer,
a new fridge for inventory, but you'd also need a new fridge at the serving station as well. If you want to do gluten-free bagels or whatever at the sandwich station, you need a completely separate one as well. So everything would quite literally need to be doubled to 100% guarantee that it can't be cross-contaminated, and right now I have no idea where you would actually place that. My big point is I would never 100% guarantee something to a student and risk their health and well-being.
Yes, I think one of the biggest things for that is educating students, and whether that be training leaders through positive space, anti-oppression when they go into certain roles, whether it be in the services or the government, or orientation leaders, for example, really making them aware of the issues that do exist and how to approach them. And I think the key thing is how to approach them, because a lot of students, when they hear about issues, if they're ever in a situation when they might need to address it, they don't necessarily know how to. They might not know what to say, or if they should say something in public, should they say something in private, who should they go to. So I think that's one piece. Another piece is making sure the resources students are aware of where they can turn. whether that be the Human Rights Office or the Equity Office or a Sexual Assault Center Kingston or things like that, where students know where to turn if they are ever are faced with an issue. I think as well we don't want to tokenize the Social Issues Commission as the only resource, only place where education and support for those issues can take place. But of course, working with them and strengthening the work that they do, making sure that they have the resources necessary to reach out to a wide range of students, but making sure that that kind of knowledge and understanding permeates throughout everything that we do is something that we feel strongly about.
The AODA requirements, so Accessibility Ontarians with Disabilities Act, which need to be implemented, and with all new buildings or large-scale infrastructure updates, they are fully implemented. That being said, like you said, Queens is largely old buildings, so the problem is getting them into the buildings that we currently have. And one thing that I would note is it is the responsibility of the university to pay for these changes. It's a legal responsibility that they have, and it's not something that could ever be done through something like the Accessibility Queens Fund that the AMS oversees.
So I'm sorry, Queens community. Unfortunately, I cannot provide nachos before 8 p.m. I will be very transparent about that bold decision. So right now we have 2 industrial microwaves right now. So they're kind of like little ovens, if you will. So if you make 1 serving of nachos, that takes up the use of one of those
mini ovens.
In one of the ovens, and that means nothing can be cooked in that oven for a couple of minutes, and that's when you start seeing pileups of back orders, and that's why there's long wait times. When you think something's really easy to make, it ends up it's actually not easy to make because of large volume. So it's really the volume piece of why you see it might take 10-15 minutes to get food. It's because of the larger volume in a very, very small kitchen. So the reason why it can't be before 8 p.m. is because of the lunch rush. That's when we're seeing the highest amount of food, or the